When I started working at St. Anthony, I was confident and I knew exactly what to do. But in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do.
What sets Jesuit education apart? Well, Father Robert Mitchell put it well when he said that Jesuit education seeks to prepare students for living as well as working. Many of us go to college to prepare for an advanced career and develop skills through college to do well at said career. But we're defined by more than just our careers. We're human beings that can approach God through both faith and reason. I think that through education, we can be exposed to different means by which we can contemplate the meaning and course of our lives. So when I went to Marquette, I studied biochemistry and learned about physical reality. But I also took theology and philosophy classes that allowed me to think about the meaning of life, figure out how great thinkers have thought about ethics and what the good is, and even the existence of God. So through taking these classes, I became aware of how I make decisions, what I consider to be the good, and how I think about God.
My Jesuit education helped me to learn how to become a steward of the knowledge that had been passed on to me, but also gave me a sense of what it means to be a missionary as well as a mentor. And for that reason, I am prepared to be a Catholic school teacher. I think a lot of people have spoken to this, but specifically Robert Mitchell understands that Jesuit education really does give a lot of importance to religious experience. And as a result, I think in my own pedagogy, I think it's those two go two and two. The idea that faith in God does not need to be an obstacle in learning or understanding the world around us, but actually can be used as a tool to sharpen it. So the idea here is that I'm prepared to combine both of those disciplines thanks to my Jesuit education. And there are challenges ahead. I think my students really do struggle with that concept, but the idea that you can really explore and really promote the marriage between religious experience and knowledge has definitely helped me become a Catholic school teacher. And the Ignatian trends that really promote that idea are ingrained in me and really, I think, show themselves in my educational practices as well.
How has Jesuit education informed my teaching? I think first and foremost, Jesuit education has given me a really strong background in the humanities. And Mitchell writes that there are skills involved in the humanities that are so practical. It's thinking and writing and speaking. And the questions that we ask in the humanities have to do with what it means to be human. And so in an ELA unit, when I'm teaching, we might be talking about To Kill a Mockingbird or the character of Atticus Finch, but we move beyond the text that's immediately in front of us, and we're asking questions about what it means to be a good person and what obligations we have to each other as human beings. And I don't think I would be asking those questions of my students if I didn't have those modeled for me in my own experience in Jesuit education, and if I didn't believe in Jesuit education so much. And I also don't think I would have the love of learning that I have or the desire to be a lifelong learner if I didn't have a background in Jesuit education. And I really want to model that for my students and also kind of push them to realize the joy in learning themselves.
Jesuit education has enabled me to see that my work is like an onion. Sometimes it's smelly, sometimes it makes me cry, but as a great philosopher Shrek once opined, it has layers. I could view my work merely on the reality of what I do day to day, supporting students, keeping them on task. But Jesuit education has enabled me to see that my experiences are infused with the presence of God, and this affects the way that I reflect on my joys and sorrows from day to day. I'd like to quote Father James Martin. He reflected on the dignity of work, and he said that we work with God to build a better world, and God sees the fruit of our labor even if others cannot. I would like to add on to this. God sees the fruit of our labor even when I cannot see it, or see it being completed according to the time frame I've set up for myself. When I'm frustrated about making mistakes in teaching, or feel sad that I'm not the teacher that I want to be yet, I can recognize that my work will have to be viewed in the context of a much larger time frame than what I'm used to. As long as I commit daily to responding to the desire for Magis, I can have faith that my work is building up a better world, even if the progress is too small to discern it on a daily basis.
To me, a big part of what sets Jesuit education apart is the emphasis on community. And I think community is a buzzword that's thrown around on a lot of campuses and a lot of Jesuit campuses. I know I saw it in high school and in college at Creighton, but the more time I actually spent building community myself in service trips or in my classrooms, the more I saw that there's actually action behind that buzzword. And I found that communities are founded in love for one another and care for the whole person. And when we have love for one another, then that requires justice. Like Arupe writes, if you take justice away from love, then you're destroying love. And so when you have a community, then it's a loving community, which is then a just community. And a just community can't be isolated. Just communities reach out to other communities, and they're engaged in the global community. And they're working to build something better. They're working to build a more just world. And that's a huge process, and it's so amazing that we can actually start that process and reflect upon that process in our classrooms. And I think that, to me, is a major part of what sets Jesuit education apart and makes it so special.
Why are you the way that you are? One of the biggest contributions my own Jesuit education has brought into my classroom is my own goal to present information to students in a way that they want to make it related to their own life. Reverend Michael Graham made a really astute point saying that our goal as teachers is to prepare students to become lifelong learners, deeply tied with the charism for the greater glory of God. By learning so much about the world and understanding it, we're not only growing personally, but spiritually as well. So my goal is to, whenever I'm making lesson plans, is to, one, understand the context that students come from when they go into the classroom, what kind of experiences they may have that might contribute to their learning, but ultimately to make what they've learned personal to them, make them understand it, make them own it. And by doing all of this, students want to become learners because they see themselves in the information that they've acquired and the understanding that they've developed. So that's highly Ignatian. I know when I'm planning, I want to make sure that St. Ignatius really is his contributions to my class are such that students are reflecting on their own situations, but also how what they've learned really comes to be a significant part of their life, all for the greater glory of God. Learning as a spiritual endeavor. I hate everything about the way that you choose to be.
We're really doing some neat things in environmental science. And I'm optimistic because every day I become a little bit more desperate.
Sometimes I start a lesson and I have no idea where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.